Hope you're having a great day. Hope you're having a great day. Again, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Great, beautiful Sunday. Great, beautiful Sunday. Hope y'all enjoying y'all day. Hope y'all kind of going outside and enjoying the weather. Beautiful day. Uh, you know, went to church today. Had a great service. Of course, y'all know I'm a church musician. And, although I go to church, like I mentioned, uh, I be having a lot of questions about religion, about what I believe in. And I think it's okay to have questions about things about the Bible and stuff like that. But a lot of people, look at people differently when they have certain things they question about the Bible. And I don't think it's nothing wrong with that. If you go to church and you're a very inquisitive person, I think it's okay to have questions or doubts about certain things you learn about as far as the Bible is concerned. People have certain things they have questions about. But again, I appreciate y'all for being in here. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Like I said, beautiful day out here, beautiful Sunday. But I often had the question ever since I was young, about about hearing the voice of God and stuff like that. I often had questions about that throughout my years of life. Had those questions about God, and I know a lot of you, have those questions about God too. I don't expect, everybody. I don't expect everybody that's, I don't expect everybody that's into religion is a Christian. I don't expect everybody Islamic or Buddhist. The voice of God is a thought that sounds like your voice, whether it's speaking to your conscious positive words or advice. A thought process that is outside of your frame of thinking. That's a great definition. And I often thought about that as well. And a question I have, because somebody told me recently, or should I say today, you know, God, people say God told me to tell you. And sometimes you question that because you like, why did God, speak to me? Why didn't God speak to me myself? And maybe, uh, maybe God or Creator has spoken to me and I didn't hear him directly, and he may speak through somebody else to tell me. Or maybe sometimes it's a confirmation from the Creator, from God, or whatever you call him, whatever name you call God uh, or the Creator. Maybe sometimes you can't directly hear God yourself, and he may speak through other people. But I always had that question ever since I was young. What is the voice of God? How does God speak to you? And you go to church, and you have people in the church, they speak in tongues and all this stuff. And you wonder why I can't speak in tongues. uh, and my dad often say, even if you're speaking in English, you're speaking in tongues, because I believe in the Bible it says that, Paul said, if nobody can understand what you're saying, it's not edifying the kingdom. It's not edifying the church. And I think about those things as well. But it seems like, you ask the question, if God is real, why he doesn't speak directly to me. And And I've had those questions. I've recently had those questions because we often have debates. We often have debates about certain things in the Bible. We have questions about so many different things in the Bible, and we ask the question, why doesn't God come down and clarify certain things that we have these oftentimes debates about? If he really want us to really obey him and follow his word, why doesn't God come down and tell us directly? And that's a question a lot of people have. And like John Michael 24 said, I often think of the voice of God as speaking through your own voice, your own conscience, and really telling you, the right thing to do and the wrong thing. And I think that's why it's important to have good parents, or if you're a parent, that you really, steer your children in the right direction, because a lot of times, they deal with peer pressure, they deal with so many things in life, and they steer it so many different ways, so many different directions. And so I feel it's good to really, have good parenting skills, even though society may pressure your children, they'll have some great foundation to lean on, or to go back to and ponder, am I making the right decision or not? And it's kind of difficult though with God, I'll be honest, because God is not physically with us. Our parents are physically with us, and so it's easier for us. It's whole lot easier for us to obey God than meant to obey our parents than God. We often think that way. And so if you watch this later, this is a question that I want to put out to everybody. What is the voice of God? What's the voice of God to you? What's your definition of your voice, the voice of God? Also, you can send me a cash app, any topics, whether it be religion or current events that you want to talk about. Any thing you want to talk about as far as religion, current events, politics. So it'll be great to have the conversation. But let me know what y'all think about that. What is the voice of God? How does God speak to you? Because often people have those questions. They go through certain dilemmas. They go through certain things in their life, and they feel like, where is God in my situation? They go to church all their life. They read the Bible. They try to follow God, and it seems like things just happen. And in church, they say, "Oh, it's only a test." Even if you read, when you read the Bible, Job was a faithful person, to God, but God also tested him. God, he tested him, and so that's the confusion I feel a lot of people have. Listening to the voice of God, listening to what God says, and they feel stuck. And so again, appreciate y'all for watching. Hope y'all having a good day. I like doing my videos live lately, just to see what people think about, what I'm thinking currently. I love to do it live and see what people think about what I'm thinking at the time. And so again, appreciate y'all for watching. Like I said, beautiful day. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoy this topic. If you watch this later on, again, appreciate y'all for watching. But the question is, what is the voice of God? What do you feel is the voice of God in your life? How do you hear the voice of God? That's the question, I would ask to anybody, and sometimes people say different things, but yeah. Again, appreciate y'all for watching. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hope y'all having a beautiful day on this beautiful Sunday. And I'll talk to y'all guys later. All right, peace.